Good morning all. So in the last class of DC machines we have studied about the EMF equation of the DC machine, and commutation and construction. So in today's class we will be discussing about the classification of DC machine or the types of DC machine. So this is the classification tree of DC machines. Basically we have seen in the last class we briefly discussed about this, that the classification is not based on the construction. The classification is purely based on the type of connection I connect the field winding and the armature winding. Okay, so based on that, the DC machines can be classified as self-excited machines and separately excited machines. In self-excited there is shunt connection, series connected machine, compound connected machine. In that, long shunt compound, short shunt compound, and it can be cumulatively long shunt, differentially long shunt, cumulatively short shunt, differentially short shunt. What these all mean we will look into one by one. Okay, so first we will see what is the separately excited DC machine. So unlike all other machines, all remaining three machines, induction motor, alternator and transformer, are classified majorly based on the construction, but whereas DC machine is classified based on the connection. Okay, so first we will see separately excited DC machine. DC machine. So excitation is means excitation in electrical language or in the language of electrical machines. Excitation means providing the field supply. Okay? Providing field supply. Providing field supply to create flux in machine. So this means excitation. So excitation is observed in synchronous generators. Excitation is observed in DC machines. Okay. So excitation is in synchronous machines and DC machines. In transformers we don't call it as excitation. We call it as energizing the primary coil. In induction machine there is no separately excitation given to the motor. The main input supply, three-phase input supply itself will act as the excitation supply. Okay, so excitation is providing field supply to create the flux in the machine. In separately excited machine, here the field winding is supplied by a separate DC source. Field winding is supplied by separate DC source and is not physically connected to armature winding. And is not physically connected to armature winding. So in the last class we have seen what is the circuit symbol of DC machine. Circuit symbol of DC machine is this: a circle representing the armature, G bar, two boxes at top and bottom representing the brushes. These are the load terminals connected with load. Okay, and we have the field coil supplied by a separate DC source of VF volts. So this is Z, ZZ, A, AA. So the voltage across load is, it is V. The voltage generated is EA. The direction is operating towards the load, and when I close the load switch, I will get IA is equals to IL, and we have a small armature resistance RA. Small armature resistance RA. So this is a separately excited DC machine where the field winding is supplied separately by IF. Field winding is supplied separately by a different source. It has got a resistance of RF. Okay. So the value of VF, IF and RF are completely depending upon what amount of flux I need. Okay. So the amount of flux I need will be known. Then to get that amount of flux, I should be finding what is the required amount of current. Okay. Then depending upon the required amount of current, I can supply the voltage based on the resistance of this particular winding. Okay. So this is how we fix. So here separately excited machine means the field winding is separately supplied by the DC source of VF volts. Armature is connected separately to the load. So there is no physical contact or connection between the armature and the field. So therefore I can write here IF is equals to VF divided by RF, and IA is equals to IL. IA is equals to IL. Okay. Then EA is equals to yeah, we know that there are various drops in the machine. Okay, the total generated voltage EA combines with the terminal voltage. It is the combination of, or it is the sum of terminal voltage, armature resistance drop, brush contact drop, armature reaction drop. Okay, so therefore I can write EA is equals to V plus IRA plus brush contact drop plus armature reaction drop, or V is equals to EA minus IRA plus brush contact drop plus minus armature reaction drop. Therefore IA is equals to okay, I can write IRA is equals to, it is EA minus V minus brush contact drop minus armature reaction drop, and IA is equals to, I can write EA minus V minus BCD minus ARD divided by RA divided by R. So this is the resistance, the current. Okay. That is equals to the current. So this is about the separately excited DC machine. Okay. This is about the separately excited DC machine. And what is the value of voltage V? Value of voltage V, okay, is nothing but EA minus this value, and EA and VA will be very near to each other. Okay, but one thing we should remember, this IA, whatever I have written, it is at the short circuit condition we can call. Okay, Actually, IA is equals to load current IL, and load current depends upon the load condition. We know that as I go on switching on the appliances to the system connected or to the supply connected, my current goes on increasing. Okay, so therefore, or simply it may be not completely correct to mention this. So simply we will mention IA is equals to IL. That is as of now sufficient. Okay. So this is about the separately excited DC machine. Next we will move to self-excited DC machine. Now I know what we mean by excitation. Okay. Self-excited DC machine. So in self-excited DC machine, the field winding is not supplied with separate supply. Here, field winding is not supplied with separate source, but it is connected to armature. It is connected to armature. Okay, and armature will supply the excitation current. Armature will supply the excitation current. Okay, so now we are not giving separately the DC source to the field winding. Instead, we are connecting it to the armature directly. Okay, so in that, the first is shunt field winding. So shunt machine, shunt DC machine. First is shunt DC machine. Shunt means parallel. Shunt means parallel. Okay, or in parallel. For our understanding, it is in parallel. So what does this mean is, shunt connected DC machine means field winding is connected in parallel with the armature. That is called shunt field machine. Field winding. Now this is armature. So the field winding is connected in parallel with armature. This is Z, ZZ, okay, and this is ISH. Okay, I will call it as ISH, shunt field current. Okay, it has got some resistance RSH, not some, large resistance RSH. Okay, and this is connected with the load. The voltage across load is V volts. Okay, and here it is AA. The voltage generated is EA. It has got some resistance I. Okay, now this is the current IA, armature current. Now here armature current is not equal to the load current. This is the current IL, load current, because a part of armature current is flowing through fields winding, and load current is deduction of this field current from this armature current, some value less than armature current. Okay. Now the question is, see, for example, not for example, it is for the shunt machine. Now here I have EA is equals to phi Z n by 60 into P by A. I have this equation. Okay. So now we know that once the machine is fabricated or manufactured, certain things will remain constant. My number of conductors will remain constant, poles will remain constant, and number of parallel paths will remain constant. Okay. So now for any machine, my Z, P, A 60 are constants. These are constants. Therefore, EA is now proportional to phi into n, that is flux and speed. So speed is an external quantity for me because it is given by the prime mover. So once I set the prime mover at a particular speed, then my machine will be running at that speed at constant rate. Okay. So now n I will keep it as constant. Therefore, my induced EMF is completely depending upon the flux. It is directly proportional to the flux. Now you observe here, this field winding is not supplied with any kind of source externally, but still it is expected to provide flux the moment generator starts operating. Now how it is possible? How it is possible? Okay, now we have these field coils. This is the stator. I will draw only one pole. Okay, so I have this field coil. Okay, so to produce this flux phi by this pole, there should be some field current IF, whether it is shunt, separately, whatever. To produce this flux phi, I need some field current IF. But initially, the current to this field coil will come only when armature will generate the current. Current to this field coil will come into it only when armature will generate the current. When armature will generate, only when it will get the flux. Now without flux, armature will not generate, and without current, field will not produce the flux. Now how did this generation of shunt machine started? One thing we should keep it in mind whenever we are building shunt machine is that this field pole, okay, here for shunt machine, field poles or field system should have some residual magnetism. It should have some residual magnetism. What is residual magnetism? When explaining the hysteresis loss in the transformer content or transformer unit, I explained you about the BH curve there, and when I increased the magnetizing force to some extent and I decreased the magnetizing force after some point in the same number of steps, and when I made magnetizing force 0, the magnetic flux density did not become 0 there. It was having some positive value. So this is called residual magnetism. This is called residual magnetism. Residual magnetism is what? It is the amount of magnetism still present in the electromagnet or any magnet, or in this case exactly particularly field winding, even when the field current is 0. So initially when I manufacture the shunt field machine, okay, or any DC machine, I will make sure that I will be keeping some residual magnetism in that pole, in that field winding, so that when the generator starts operating, initially with that residual magnetism present, it can generate small amount of voltage. It can generate some small amount of voltage. That small amount of voltage will make small amount of current circulate. That small amount of current in the field winding will create small amount of flux. So now the total flux in the field winding is residual flux plus small amount of generated flux. This will induce some amount of voltage more. Again it will increase the field current to some value. Again the flux will get added up. So there is a continuous increase in the value of flux. Therefore, at one particular point, this armature will generate enough amount of current, the field current for the shunt coil, and that shunt coil current, will start producing the required amount of flux. And the moment required amount of flux is produced by the field coil, the required amount of voltage is generated across the armature, and this will remain constant thereafter, because the maximum amount of current carried by this field coil will be ISH is equals to V divided by RSH. This field coil will not carry current beyond this value, because it is characterized by shunt field resistance. So therefore, initially in all the self-excited machines, it is not only in this shunt machine, in all the self-excited machines, field winding will be having some residual flux. So therefore, the retentivity property of the field system should be very high. This should be having a large retentivity, so that for a long time, even if I don't operate my generator for a longer period. So for example, we have DC machines in our laboratory, electrical machines laboratory. For the second year electrical students, we conduct some of the experiments on them. So DC machines laboratories are there for the syllabus in 4th semester, that is in one semester, whereas in odd semester generally DC machines will be kept idle. We don't use DC machines during odd semester. So almost half the year DC machines are not operating. Only the AC machines will be operating during the first half of the academic year. During second half, the DC machines will come into picture, because they are in that part of the syllabus. So for first, even I did not operate my DC machines for first 6 months of the academic year. In the next 6 months, the moment I provide field, the moment I provide the prime mover input to the generator, the DC machine starts generating itself. The DC machine starts generating on itself, because the poles of the DC machines are provided with large retentivity. They are provided with high retentivity. Therefore, whatever the previous excitation was done, when the previous excitation was done, and when I retrieved the excitation, some amount of magnetism was still present in the field winding, and that amount of magnetism will be retained for a long time because of larger retentivity. So field poles of the DC machines should be having large retentivity, because I don't know whether I use it as a separately excited machine or a self-excited machine. Therefore, commonly what we do when we manufacture the DC machines is that we keep the retentivity of the field winding large, so that for a long time, even when the excitation is not provided to the field system, the flux will be still present. The magnetism should be still present in the form of residual magnetism. So this is how the self-excited machines will operate, even though we don't provide any external source to this field winding. So by observing the circuit, now we know how the circuit of the machine operates. Now we will go to the circuit part. So ISH is equal to V divided by RSH. Then my IA is equals to ISH plus IL. IA is equals to ISH plus IL, and EA is equals to same. It is V plus IRA plus you don't add IA RSH because it is in parallel. So therefore, the voltage across the field is always equal to the terminal voltage. The voltage across this field is always equal to terminal voltage, not the generated voltage. Because generated voltage will supply for IRA drop, will supply for brush contact drop, will supply for the armature reaction drop. Okay, so V plus IRA plus brush contact drop plus armature reaction drop. I won't be writing for V, you can write it for V equal to EA minus of that all terms. Okay, now this is about circuit. Now how the construction of shunt field winding is done. I told the construction will not differ physically, but whenever I am providing the shunt field winding, okay, so it is very important for me to decide at the earlier stage itself whether this DC machine to be operated as a shunt machine, a series machine or a compound machine. Because depending upon this classification, I have to decide the winding of the field. Now, observe here, if it is a shunt field machine, my field winding will come exactly in parallel with armature. So my field winding should withstand the complete voltage across it. This field winding should withstand complete voltage across it. So it has to withstand the V amount of voltage across it. Therefore, this field winding should have sufficient amount of resistance to withstand the voltage. Because if the resistance is too small, instead of armature current flowing to the load, it will flow through the shunt field winding itself, which may not be required for me. Because I need shunt field current only of that value which can create my proportional flux to induce the proportional voltage. That's it. And this requirement is very small. This requirement is very small. The field current required to generate the flux, is very small. Okay. If you see the shunt field current in our machines, it will not cross more than 1 to 1.5 amperes. The maximum field current what I get is not even 1 amperes. It will be less than 1 amperes. So I want only 1 ampere current to flow here in this field coil against the voltage generated. Generally the DC voltage is 220 volts. It is a general voltage. Generally DC machines operate at 220 volts. Now if 220 volt has to be generated, then the field current, it should be less than 1 amperes, or you take 1 amperes, the minimum value of shunt field resistance should be 220 ohms. So 220 volts divided by 220 ohms will give 1 amperes of current. My requirement is only that much. I don't need more. Okay. So field winding here, or shunt field winding, should have large resistance as it is connected across full voltage. Now how I can provide large resistance to the winding? It is not feasible to add external resistance, because if I add external resistance, that becomes non-inductive part of the circuit. The circuit should be inductive, the field coil should be inductive, and it also should be very highly resistive. Then to do this, what I will do is, we know the dimensional equation of resistance RSH is equals to rho L by A. If I want RSH to be large in a machine, 200 ohms or 220 ohms is very large resistance. Okay, not large, it is very large resistance for a machine. So if RSH I want to be large, then my length should be more, area should be less. Okay, it is very much evident from this equation. Rho is constant depending upon what type of conductor I use. So here if I want to keep my RSH to a larger value, then I should be keeping the length of that coil of larger value, then I should be reducing the area of conductor, cross section area of conductor. So this can be achieved, okay. So to keep, therefore, to keep RSH very high, we use coil of large number of turns made of very thin cross section. Okay, so you should keep this in mind. Okay, that the shunt field winding is made up of very large number of turns with very thin cross section conductor. So if we do this, then if we do this, it is automatically achieved with larger value of resistance. Okay, so you please remember the flux phi is always proportional to ampere turns. Okay, the flux phi is always proportional to ampere turns. So here I have to keep the conductor's field coil of very larger resistance value, so I have to increase the number of length. So I have to increase the length. How shall I increase the length? By keeping more number of turns. If the number of turns increase, length of the conductor increase. Simple. If the number of turns increase, length of the conductor increase. So this flux is provided with large number of turns here. Okay, but to provide the particular value of flux, I can decrease the amperes. So that ampere is automatically decreased by the use of large resistance into the field system. So this is how the shunt machine is constructed. Okay. So earlier only I have to decide what type of machine I must be using. Okay, whether it is a shunt machine or whether it is a series machine. Okay. So next is series DC machine. Series DC machine. So as the name suggests, okay, as the name suggests, the field coil is kept in series with the same classification holds good for motors also. So when I take the motor part, I will not be dealing with the classification again, the types of motors. Okay. This is A, Z, ZZ. It is EA, and it has got the resistance RSE. Let us take RSE, series resistance. Okay. Here. Okay. So here the field winding is in series with the armature. Hence it is called series machine. And we observe here my IL is equals to IA. Okay. And IF is equals to IA. Because the same armature current has to flow through the field. Okay. What is EA? Now EA has to provide for the armature drop, provide for brush contact drop, provide for the armature reaction drop, okay, provide for the supply voltage, load terminal voltage V, and also it has to provide for the series resistance or the series field drop. Okay, so I can write V is equals to I can write EA minus IRA. Okay, sum of the generated voltage is dropped into the armature resistance minus brush contact drop in the brush minus armature reaction drop. Okay, then some amount of voltage is dropped across the series resistance also minus IA into RSC. Now tell me, what should be the value of IA into RSC? Should it be very large or should it be very low? Okay, from the equation V equal to this expression, what should be the value of IA into RSC? Should it be large or low? Definitely it should be low. Is it? Definitely it should be low. Now what happens if IRSC is very large? Then most of the voltage that is generated by the armature will be dropped across the series field. Then the voltage available across the load is very much minimum. It may not be sufficient to drive the load even. So therefore my IA into RSC should be low. So how I can keep my IA into RSC low? Either I can keep IA low or RSC low. Can I afford to keep armature current low? Lower armature current means lower value of the load driving. I am not driving the load. Less value of armature current means the load driven is very less. So armature current is a function of load. It is not the function of this resistance. So definitely I cannot compromise with the value of IA because it depends upon the load. But only thing what I can do is I can keep the value IA into RSC at lower value by keeping RSC lower value. Okay, so first we'll write the equation. So V is equals to EA minus IA into, I can take it common, RA plus RSC minus BCD minus ARD, or EA is equals to V plus IA into RA plus RSC plus BCD plus ARD. Okay. So now I want to keep this IA into RSC low value. Therefore, I will be keeping RSC lower value. How to keep RSC lower value? Again same equation. RSC is proportional to, or RSC is equal to rho L by A. If I want this low, then length should be less, area should be more. If I want RSC to be less, then length of that coil should be less, area of that conductor should be more. Then what I can do? I can use the series field coil with lesser number of turns and larger cross section area. See the difference. You refer the previous circuit diagram. In previous circuit diagram I had drawn the shunt field winding of larger number of turns. Many authors, many books, they make this mistake. Okay, just to denote a winding, they did not look into what type of circuit symbol we are using for what type of machine. They we can't say that it is done deliberately. Okay, it is because of the flow in the writing. We can, most of the times what we do is, even when I draw the series field coil, I will be drawing with more number of turns. Sometimes while drawing shunt field coil, I will be drawing with less number of turns. But conceptually, that circuit symbol is incorrect. So whenever we draw these circuit symbols, we should be very much aware that the circuit symbols are not only the diagrams that we are drawing to represent something, they also represent conceptual way of or the conceptual, those are the conceptual representation of the physical machine that we are analyzing. Okay, so we should be taking care. Most of the times we make a mistake that when we draw the transformer, we say it is step down transformer, but still we represent the circuit symbol with same number of turns in primary as well as secondary. These are the common mistakes that everybody will do. Even I may do such mistakes whenever I will be writing something casually. Okay, so but when we people are writing anything or showing some circuit symbols for a particular machine, we should be very much aware that what type of machine I am representing in my article. Okay, so it is very much clear, because that will make you, and once you follow these rules, then it is understood by the evaluator that you know the concepts well. Okay, that is an added advantage in your examinations. If your representation is good and correct conceptually, then in your evaluation you may be getting a liberal evaluation of your answer scripts, because in first 2 pages every evaluator will just go through the first first few pages. The representation in first few pages will tell the story of your entire answer booklet. It is true for every subject. Okay, the first few pages, first 2 to 3 pages will tell the quality of the answers what you have written in the entire answer script. Okay, so if you practice of representing the things in a better manner, then that is an added advantage in your examinations. Not only you can get marks, you will get good marks. So you will not be losing the marks even when you do small mistakes in here and there. Okay, or else if the representation is not conceptually correct, then when you make mistakes you may have to lose 1 or 2 marks in addition. Okay, so please keep this in mind. That is a general advice for in any subject, that you can follow in any subject, not only in this particular course. Okay, so you can observe the difference now. Here the number of turns are more and the number of turns are less, because I want to keep my resistance less. Now if I keep resistance large, if I use the same winding here, what will happen? 220 volts, 220 ohms, all the voltage will drop here only. My load will not get any voltage. Okay, so even if I choose the resistance of series field half of the shunt field, then also it is half of the voltage will drop here only. I don't get a good amount of voltage at the load. I want voltage at the load, so therefore my drops in this path should be very less. But I am helpless with RA, because it comes with implicit resistance of the winding, because winding length is the function of voltage. Brush contact drop, it will be there. Armature reaction drop, it will be there. So I know beyond these 3 what is the amount of voltage available. But if I have to provide the external connection in the form of field connections, then I should keep it in mind that whenever field comes in parallel, it should carry less current, withstand more voltage. Whenever the field comes in series, it should drop less voltage and carry more current. Therefore, in shunt, resistance should be more, in series, resistance should be less. Now, if I keep more resistance here, my copper losses will increase. IA square RSC will be more. It will increase the temperature. It will decrease the efficiency. So, these all things will come into picture. That is the reason why my resistance RSC should be kept low. So, therefore, how the series field winding is kept? Series field winding. Therefore, series field winding is provided with very few turns, of thick cross section area. of very thick cross section area of conductor. Okay, so with this I will be ensured that it will carry the large amount of current required to supply the load. Okay, so this is series DC machine. Next comes is compound, which is having both shunt as well as series. Hello. So next is compound DC machines. So these compound machines will be having both series as well as shunt field winding. So how we connect these two series and shunt field depends, okay, whether or will give whether it is a long shunt or a short shunt. Okay, so first we'll see the long shunt machine. Long shunt compound DC machine. Long shunt compound DC machine. So in long shunt compound DC machine, I will be having a armature. In all the DC machines I will be having an armature. Okay. I will be having a series field. Right now I will not mark what are the field connections, because the field connections, depending upon the field connections, whether it is a cumulative or differential will be decided. Okay, now this is the series field winding. Let this be IA, this is IL, and this is ISH, shunt field current. Okay, so my IA is equals to IL plus ISH, okay, and ISH is V divided by RSH. It has got some resistance RSH, it has got some value resistance RSC. Okay, so now let us first consider the cumulative connections. Let us first consider the cumulative connection. Okay. Cumulative connection. Now you observe here, there are two field coils. Okay. So I have two fluxes, phi SC and phi SH. Okay. Now if total flux phi is equals to phi SC plus phi SH, then it is cumulative connection. If total flux phi is equals to phi SC difference phi SH, it is differential connection. Okay. Now if the flux produced by both the windings will add up, that is called cumulative connection. and if the flux produced by both the coils will get subtracted, then that is differential connection. Okay, so in long shunt cumulative, the field connections should be such that, okay, if it is cumulative, the field connections should be such that my phi SC and phi SS should add up. So that can be achieved by providing, let this be Y and YY, let this be Z and ZZ. If the positive terminal of shunt field is connected to negative terminal in parallel to a node, then my both the fluxes will add up. Then it will provide cumulative connection. It will provide cumulative connection. Okay. Now, if I want a different in cumulative connection, or simple, this is fine. Now, IA is equal to IA plus ISH, ISH is equal to V divided by RSH. Now, what is EA is equals to? Now, EA is equals to, what is the voltage here? It is V. Okay. So, V plus IRA plus IRSC plus brush contact drop plus armature reaction drop. Okay. So this is what, or I can write V plus IA into RA plus RAC plus brush contact drop plus armature reaction drop. This is my EA. Okay. V equals to this one, EA minus IA RA plus RAC minus brush contact drop minus armature reaction drop. So this is VA minus V. Okay. Now this is cumulative with this connection. Only with this connection I can tell which is cumulative, which is differential. Okay. Equation wise, no, there is no much difference. Okay. Then differential reverse either of the connection. Differential connection, long shunt itself. Long shunt in the sense, series winding will be in series with armature and shunt winding will be in parallel with both this combination. That is long shunt. Short shunt in the sense, shunt field winding will be in parallel with armature, series field winding will be in series with this parallel combination. We will look into the next part. Okay. The equations will hold good. Equations will not change. This is Y and YY. Here it is Z. Now this will be ZZ. This will be Z. Only this is the difference. Only this is the difference. So with this connection I will be getting the differential connection with which both the fluxes will be opposing each other. So the net flux produced is lesser than the flux that is produced in cumulative connection. Okay. The next is short shunt compound DC machine. So this is load. This terminal voltage V, let this be RL, and this will be the field volume EA, RA, this is AA, A, this is IA, this is IL, this is ISH. Again, cumulative or differential, it depends on the connection. Okay. Now, if this is Y, YY, and if this is Z, ZZ. Okay. If this is the type of connection, then it is cumulative connection. Okay. So in long shunt, YY should be connected to Z, that is cumulative. In short shunt, Y should be connected to Z, that is cumulative connection. Now here, what is ISH? ISH is equals to, now see, the shunt field current is not exactly across the voltage V. Okay, it is across the armature. So it is EA minus IRA minus brush contact drop minus armature reaction drop divided by RSH. Or ISH can also be given as V plus IL into RSE divided by RSH. Both are same. Okay. Simply apply the fundamental Ohm's law. You will get to know. Okay. Then what is V? V is equals to EA minus IRA, and before that, what is my IA? My IA is IL plus RSH. Sorry, ISH. V minus IRA minus brush contact drop minus armature reaction drop minus IL into RSC, not IA into RSC. Because in series field, it is the line current which is flowing, load current which is flowing, not the armature current. Okay, so please make a note of that. EA equals to that expression, you can write it. Now, what is differential connection? Just change the polarity of either Y or Z. Okay, anything will do. So this is the terminal voltage V, load current IL. Now it is YYY, I will write YY and Y. Please don't change the connections of both. Again it will become cumulative only. So this is my differentially connected short shunt DC machine. Okay, so this is all about the classification of DC machines. Okay, so any compound machine, either it can be short shunt or long shunt, and it can be cumulative or differential. Okay, any one of the four it should be. Okay, any one of the four it should be. Generally we go for cumulative DC machine. Okay, we generally go for cumulative, and it is advantageous to go for short shunt compound machine rather than long shunt, because look here, in long shunt my armature series resistance RSC will come inside the armature circuit, so the voltage drop across RSC will be more. IA is more than IL, so voltage drop is more, armature copper losses are more. So if I want to keep lesser voltage drop and lesser copper loss, I will keep RLC in the outside the shunt field where the current carried by this is lesser than armature current. So which is most advantageous machine in the sense is, compound machine is, out of 4 it is cumulatively connected short shunt DC compound machine is advantageous for me, which will give the larger flux with lower currents and which will give lesser voltage drop across field resistance, series field resistance, and lower copper losses in series field resistance. So this is all about the classification of DC machines. In the next class we will look into few examples on DC machines based on this classification and the EMF equation, and will close the DC generators. Okay, so thank you.